You guys have some tea. Mom, what are you getting for Teresa?
I can't reach Teresa.
Teresa, what do you want?
Just the
Hamburger?
Yeah.
Okay. I washed my hands.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you probably heard me.
So. That's the good meat.
I know it is.
I can't eat it.
Well, the king was having for breakfast today. Look at this beautiful creature that I have. A whole beast from Liver King Ranch. Dry aged, 90 days. It's so delicious. We're having all of it. If you don't have a whole beast, get yourself a What's the Liver King having for breakfast today? Okay.
Okay, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hopeful elect that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. As you saw in this collage of videos that I put together, you had a bunch of Edomites and you saw what they were doing. They were pretty much eating raw meat. They were drinking blood, okay? And this right here is just sick and disgusting. This is foul, okay? But, this is how I know these devils like to get down, okay? They love to eat raw meat. They love to drink blood. Esau is a base man, okay? He's unholy. He's filthy. He's disgusting. And again, this is how these devils like to get down. And so with that being said, Israel, you should not be envying these devils, okay? You should not be following after the ways of these devils because, again, this devil Esau, he's a sick individual. Only a fool would want to eat some raw meat and drink blood and whatnot. Okay, all you're doing is just, when you do stuff like that right there, when you do sick stuff like that right there, eating raw meat and drinking blood, all you're doing is just setting yourself up to get some type of parasitic infection. You're basically setting yourself up to get sick, okay? And, but again, a fool would do something like this right here. And Esau, he's a fool. He's a base man. Here it is. I can remember, this was years back when I used to work on this job, years back when I was a younger man. I used to work with this Edomite. And he used to always talk about eating steaks and everything like that. And he was always talking about how he liked his steaks real thick. And he said how he liked the center of them to pretty much be pink. And he liked blood dripping from them. That's what he would say. That's how he liked to eat his steaks. Okay. And again, that is just sick. That is just sick and disgusting as hell. But, that's how these devils like to get down. They love to get down. They love to eat raw meat. They're base men. I saw this, these videos right here, and I just thought that I would bring out a quick lesson. I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the scriptures. And the first scripture I want to go to is in the book of Daniel, and this is chapter 4, and this is verse 17, because as I had mentioned, Esau, he's a base man. He's the lowest of the lowest. And so this is Daniel, and this is chapter 4, and this is verse 17. And it says, this matter is by the decree of watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basis of men. Okay, the basis of men, that's talking about the lowest of men. Okay, and see, here it is, Esau Edom. He's currently in the power seat. Okay, he's currently in rulership. And Esau Edom, he's the lowest of the lowest. He's a base man. Okay, he's unholy. Okay, he's a filthy and disgusting demon. And this is how these devils like to get down. They like to do, foul and disgusting things like, like eat raw meat and drink blood and do stuff like that. Again, they're unholy. They're filthy. Okay. And again, you should not be following after the ways of these devils. You should not be envying these devils. And again, I'm speaking to you, Israel. Okay. And again, when I say Israel, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those to the other speckled bird that look like these other nations. But you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. You know, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abashai gave us laws, statutes, and commandments to follow. Okay. And again, you know, we don't supposed to be, eating raw meat. We don't supposed to be drinking blood. And we're going to go ahead and bring those, we're going to go ahead and go into those, those laws. Okay. Let's go to, this is Leviticus, and this is chapter 17. And I want to start in verse 12. And it reads, therefore, I said unto the children of Israel, no soul of you shall eat blood. Okay. You heard that? It says, neither shall any stranger that sojourn among you eat blood. Okay, again, we don't supposed to be eating blood. We don't supposed to be eating raw meat. It says in verse 13, it says, and whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it in the dust. Again, we don't supposed to be, eating or consuming blood. Okay, it's totally going off. We don't supposed to be eating raw meat. That's totally going off. And again, only a sick individual would do something like that. But again, this devil Esau, he's that sick individual. He does things like this. Okay, he's unholy. Verse 14, it says, for it is the life of all flesh. The blood of it is for the life thereof. Therefore I said unto the children of Israel, ye shall eat the blood of no manner of flesh, for the life of all flesh is the blood thereof. Whosoever eateth, it shall be cut off. Okay, again, Israel, we do not supposed to be, eating blood. We don't supposed to be eating raw meat. Okay, we don't supposed to be learning the ways of these heathens. We don't supposed to be following after these heathens. Okay, and again, Esau, he's the lowest of the lowest. He is the lowest of the lowest. He does a bunch of wicked and foul and disgusting things. Okay, this is Deuteronomy. This is chapter 12. This is verse 21. And it reads, if the place which the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abashai, thy power, had chosen to put his name there be too far from thee, then thou shalt kill of thy herd and of thy flock, which the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abashai had given thee, as I have commanded thee, and thou shalt eat in thy gates whatsoever thy soul lusted after. Verse 23, it says, even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them. It says the unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Okay, and see, here it is. It says the roebuck and the hart. Okay, and the roebuck and the hart, those are like deer. Okay, and so and I have them pulled up. I have this right here. It says a hart is an adult male deer, specifically one that is at least 5 years old. It says the term is mostly traditional or poetic today, functioning as a synonym for a stag. Okay, and so again, a hart, that's talking about a deer. Also, a roebuck or a roe deer, it says it's a small common deer species in Europe and Asia. Okay, and so let's go back to the scripture, Deuteronomy. Okay, and so in verse 22, Deuteronomy chapter 12 and verse 22, it says, even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Okay, and so when it says hart right here in roebuck, that's talking about deer. Okay, that's talking about a species of a deer. Okay, that's not, when it says hart, that's not talking about an actual hart. Okay, that pumps blood. That's talking about a deer. Okay, and see, this is why it's very important to look up words and things like that. Okay, when you study, because so you won't be confused. Okay, it's always good to look up words. Again, a roebuck and a hart, those are like two deer species. Okay, verse 22 again, it says, even as the roebuck and the hart is eaten, so thou shalt eat them. The unclean and the clean shall eat of them alike. Verse 23, it says, only be sure that thou eat not the blood, for the blood is the life, and thou mayest not eat the life with the flesh. Okay, again, we don't supposed to be, eating blood. Okay, again, what I'm saying, don't supposed to be, learn the ways of the heathen. This is how this devil Esau likes to get down. He likes to drink blood. He likes to eat raw meat. Okay, we don't do that. Okay, the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abashai gave us laws, statutes, and commandments. And again, only a sick individual, would want to eat some raw meat or drink some blood. Verse 24, it says, thou shalt not eat it. Thou shalt pour it upon the earth as water. Verse 25, it says, thou shalt not eat it, that it may go well with thee and with the children after thee, when thou shalt do that which is right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Abishai. Okay? And so again, we don't supposed to be eating raw meat. We don't supposed to be drinking blood. But no, this is how Esau likes to get down. Because again, Esau, he's unholy. He's filthy. He's disgusting. He's a base man. Okay? And I want to go to, this is Leviticus, and this is chapter 2. And this is going into meat offerings. Okay? Because again, we're supposed to cook our meat. Okay? We don't supposed to be eating raw meat. This is Leviticus chapter 2, and this is verse 5. And see, and it's just common sense. Okay? It's common sense. To want to, to cook your meat thoroughly. I mean, like I said, you only a fool would want to eat some raw meat. You got to be a straight up fool to want to eat something raw. Like I said, all you're doing is just setting yourself up to get sick. You're setting yourself up to get some type of parasitic infection. This is Leviticus, and this is chapter 2, and I want to start in verse 5, and it reads, and if thy oblation be a meat offering baken in a pan, it shall be of fine flour, unleavened, mingled with oil. Okay, you heard that it says bacon in a pan. Okay, you got to put some heat on it. Okay, cook it. Okay, again, we don't supposed to be eating raw meat. Verse 6, it says, thou shalt part it in pieces and pour oil thereon. It is a meat offering. Verse 8, it says, and if thy oblation be a meat offering baken in a frying pan, it shall be made of fine flour with oil. Okay, again, that's going into cooking your meat. Okay, you're supposed to cook it thoroughly. Verse 8, it says, and thou shalt bring the meat offering that is made of these things unto the Lord Yahweh Bashem Abishai, and when it is presented unto the priest, he shall bring it unto the altar. Okay, again, okay, children of Israel, we supposed to, cook our meat. Okay, we don't supposed to be eating raw, bloody meat. That's totally going off. But again, that's how this devil Esau likes to get down. Okay, but again, Esau does everything against the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. He's filthy and disgusting. He's a base man. Okay, he's a fool. And this leads me to my final scripture. This is in the book of Job, and this is chapter 30, and this is verse 8. And it reads, they were children of fools. Okay, this is talking about Esau. It says, ye children of base men, they were violent in the earth. And again, you got to be a fool. Okay, you got to be a base man. Okay, to want to eat raw meat, with blood dripping from it. Okay, you got to be the lowest of the lowest. Okay, the most vilest person on the earth to want to do something like that. But again, this is how these devils like to get down. Okay, they're filthy and disgusting. They're unholy. They're unclean. They're outside of the temple. Just a straight up, they just sick individuals. And again, Israel, you should not be envying these devils, and you should not be following after these devils. Okay, because they're the lowest of the lowest. And so I'm going to go ahead and end off here. As I was saying, I didn't intend for this lesson to be long. Hopefully it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Kwam Yasharada and Abba Baba. Shalom.